up, guys, and welcome back. Today it's going to be Pose Season 1, Episode 2, Access. Stay tuned to the other side, and we will get right into it.
Give me the music. Give me the music.
And you know what? That was just the beginning.
I would give you an explanation if your outfit didn't look like the inside of a coffin. Who paid you, honey? Who paid you? All right, so this episode opens up with the children at the ball bored and ready for some new blood. And Angel walks the ball, and she looks like a librarian. She has her glasses on. She has like a plaid overcoat and a nice little wool skirt, and storms the ball and wins 10s across the board. And Blanca's sitting off to the side, and she's like, while the House of Abundance is on the other side, and they're like giggling and cackling at Blanca. Blanca, calls for Damon to meet her in the hall, and they get her right together. Blanca opens the doors, and she looks like a pink flamingo floating across the ballroom floor, twirling and twirling, and she completely gets 10s across the board. Elektra is completely upset. She's pissed off to the max because she has won this category 10 times over, and now she's seeing that she has competition in the ballroom scene, and that just doesn't sit easy with her. A part of her relevance and her ego and her clout is the fact that she can win categories every time and take home the biggest trophies. I think the next scene, the shady part about the next scene, even though Blanca and Elektra read each other, the shadiest part about the next scene is Elektra coming down the hall with that big ass red wagon full of trophies. Like, that shows you her status in the scene, and there's no category that she can walk and not win. Like, everything she wins, even if it's the smaller trophies, she's taking trophies home. And I absolutely love both of their effects. Like, Elektra had this big pleated chiffon situation, and the arms were embellished with feathers. It was a really, really cute blue. I love that. Absolutely love it. There was a little drama even at the bottom. It looks more like a robe or something, or like an overcoat or something, but really, really cute. But again, Blanca, to me, like, when I look and observe this look on Blanca, she looks like a flamingo, and she doesn't look her best to me. But because the ballroom scene is so ready for something new and something to, just be different and unpredictable, she storms the room with the confidence and the aura of, bitch, I got this. And she takes the trophy. All right, so Ricky and Damon, they are on the pier, and they're sitting on the bench, and, Ricky's like that rude boy that all the girls, we want. But, so, in the beginning of me just, experiencing men and just, coming to terms with what I enjoyed as far as, intimately, those boys like Ricky just got me every time. I feel like after so many, or after a few, for me it was maybe about 4. I just had to experience. You got to get the experience. You can't tell your story unless you have the experience. So I had to get that experience of those kinds of men or boys at that time. And they just charm the draws right off you, and you don't even see it coming, and they just blindside you. Because for me, I was sheltered, and I feel like Damon was sheltered in a way just because of his parents and his upbringing and all that good stuff. Ricky has been out on the streets for a while, so he's experienced a lot more than Damon has, and that makes a difference, and a lot. And I can see myself as Damon being so green and so So like I thought like if you had sex with someone, that means you were in a relationship, like no matter what. And so I could just picture myself in Damon's situation and like, damn, you have to learn so much. And the sad part is you don't have anybody to learn that from. There's nobody around who can talk to you about, gay relationships, gay sex, developing, transitioning. There's nobody around to do that. So you literally go out into this world and people introduce themselves to you and you just take it and you take the bait. And the best part is you learn, right? Like I learned, like, this isn't the type of relationship I want. I don't want a man where I don't know if he's gonna come home, or I don't know if he's out selling drugs or selling his body, and in the gay community, like that was really big. Fortunately, my first guy that I was like really, really hooked on, he actually had a job, like a 9-to-5 job. But the one thing that he lacked was money. Like he didn't have any excess income to do anything other than pay his bills, and that was a problem. And I feel like that's the part of learning, experiencing, getting to know people, getting to know what you like. And if I was in a situation where I felt uncomfortable with being the one, paying the bills, or, being the responsible one, I'm like, oh, I don't want a man that can't hold his own. I don't want a man who has to rely on me to, make sure that he eats or whatever have you. So I love the fact that, we get to see this innocent, it's really an innocent relationship to me, unravel. And, it's really cool. It just takes me back to a time. It does. It really, really does. Damon walks into Blanca's home, which is way past his curfew because, as we can see, the sun is out. There's light in the house. Blanca's in the living room waiting for him, and she calls him in. And, she talks to him about, what do you know about the birds and the bees? What do you know about condoms? What do you know about using protection? What do you know about gay sex? And he asks her these questions, and he gets, I feel like, some understanding. She hands him pamphlets that he can read on his own time, because the sex talk with teenagers is definitely, it's uncomfortable. It's uncomfortable. But I will say this. For me and my family, when I was growing up, my mom had my sister and I write essays about STDs when we were like 14, 15. And they weren't just like easy read essays. Like we literally had to, she made us go into our sex ed books from physical education and write out what STDs did to the body. Like we had to really, really formulate an essay, and I know so much about them. And that was my mom. I feel like that was my mom's way of just like trying to introduce us to what was out there. And if you don't protect yourself, if you don't be safe, these are the things that you can acquire. And a lot of parents don't take the time out to do this to their children or for their children. They need this. They really, really need this. I mean, you want to be uncomfortable. You want to endure the uncomfortableness of the conversation, or do you want somebody in the world who is highly experienced in so many things teaching your child how to be an adult sexually? Like, you can't have both. And I think it's important that parents not be so uncomfortable talking about sex and, sexual health and education. It's extremely important. And then also it's important to let children know that, they don't have to partake in those things. It's not something that's as important as your body and the hormones in your body is making you feel like it is. It's just a phase that we all go through. It's called puberty, and we get through it. And so I love the fact that Blanca took the opportunity to have this conversation with him, because just knowing where he came from, right, in the first episode, we understood that his dad was not here for a homosexual lifestyle, neither was his mom. And so if they ever had a sexual conversation with him, it would be a heterosexual man with a heterosexual woman, and that wasn't the lifestyle that Damon was going into. Just wasn't his journey, and I love it. we're about to get into like meat and potatoes of topics. And so Blanca and Lulu go to a white male bar in New York, and they're completely unwelcome. Number one, they aren't white, and number two, they are women. They identify as a woman. And the bar owner, as well as the bartender, is completely uncomfortable with it. Lulu is also a little apprehensive about being there because of the vibe, and I totally get it. And I feel like it just shines a light on the divisiveness amongst the community. A lot of people don't know that, it's not only difficult being gay, with living in a straight world, but it's also very complicated and difficult and confusing being gay and being in the community, because it's men, and men are very judgmental, they're very picky, and they're very precise about what they want and what they like. And if you aren't it, they will show you and they will tell you, specifically white men in this particular time frame. These white men did not want to be found out first and foremost. They did not want any, exposure, publicity that there was a gay bar, and in the gay bar there could be a lawyer or teacher or doctor or someone in the community who everyone knows in this space. And so to have transsexual men who identify as women, invade this space, it's like a red flag. It raises all kinds of questions. It's like, what kind of men are you to associate yourself with this kind of man? So I get that side of the coin, but I also get the side of the coin that white men in this time, as well as in 2021, are very racist, even in homosexuality communities. We have to face that. We have to face the fact that there are white men, or even Asian men, even other black men, who will completely tear you down for being black. My black ass, no ma'am. Like, I have had black men say to me that, oh, I don't date other black guys. And I'm like, I'm from St. Louis. Like black dudes date black dudes where I'm from. Like, that's just what we do. And to be in a different environment, especially like in California, where people are very like prejudiced against their own complexion. I'm talking about dudes darker than me are prejudiced against black people, period. Like, don't even want to associate. It's appalling. And this scene is very small to the prejudice and the hatred that roam the gay community, but and I feel like it actually creates a larger conversation about the inequities that exist in our own community. It truly does. But a lot of times, it gets lost in the acceptance of the gay community. You know what I'm saying? So yeah. This scene definitely, I get it. Growing up in St. Louis, there were very few places where, black people just gather, just black people. We would have to invade white people's spaces and endure, their music and, just a whole different vibe. It's completely different when it's urban night or black night at a club versus a normal Wednesday night at a gay bar. You know what I'm saying? Like, sometimes I remember once we actually would go to Illinois, East St. Louis, and there was like a club over there specifically for gay blacks, and we would go there, and that's where you would be able to be comfortable with your own people, because there was nothing but black men in that room and black lesbians in that room. And so, yeah, this definitely is, I get the activism in Blanca's protest. I get that. I understand it. And those are the fights that we have to fight. But I'm also in a place where I feel like I don't want to put myself in a place where the majority don't want me to be. I feel like sometimes we have to create our own environments. And I'm grateful for the people who saw fit to create clubs and bars that people, and nights in other bars that people like myself, specifically Black people, can feel comfortable and be at. Because, even when I was a twink, I wouldn't see myself being involved in that community. I don't. Damon gets invited to the ballet on the same night that he agreed to go to a date with Ricky on. And I mean, I definitely would skip the date with Ricky and go to the ballet. And I think Damon made the correct choice. Also, I don't know. I just think it's important that we put ourselves first, even in relationships, especially being young. Like, education, career is like, or should be, number one, utmost. And I think Damon made the right choice. So we go into a scene where Evan Peters and his wife, Kate Mara, is having a discussion about a dishwasher. And, he's at the dinner table, calculating up, expenses and bills and stuff like that. And I really think he is doing this because he has fell in love and he's trying to find a way to finance his new life with Angel. And it's really unfortunate to see, a marriage go down this pipeline, but they both are young, and this is 87. So they were raised in the 1970s, where, even in America in the 1960s, there was a lifestyle, the perfect lifestyle, if you will, where, you get married, you have children, the husband takes care of the house. And then around this time, a lot of people were investing in appliances for the house. Like, this was a big thing for housewives because they had nothing else to do. They wanted the newest refrigerator. They wanted the newest, stovetop. They wanted the newest dishwasher and all that stuff. So, she's going with the normal flows of a marriage, and he is skeptical of his marriage because he hasn't had the opportunity to get to know himself. A lot of these people in this time, they had to follow a rubric, and if you didn't follow it, you were different. And if you were different, you didn't get jobs that Evan had. You didn't get that. You were considered an outlaw or a hippie, or it was different. It was very different, and thinking different, and wanting something other than what you've been taught was completely unheard of at this time in American history. And it's not just America that this happened in. It was all over the world. Like, culture changes. It just changes. And our culture in the 1980s was becoming more progressive and more individual thinking, and people weren't so caught up in the masses, as we can see in the New York culture. Evan is on the prowl, and he is looking for Angel Honey. He is down to the piers. He's asking other hookers questions. He's like, where is she? And he goes into this booth, and voila, Angel appears. And, she's explaining to him what her expectations in a man is, and he's kind of taking it all in, but the time does run out, and he does run out of quarters. And she does disappear again, and I'm just assuming he's probably more than likely gonna do his best to make sure that he can fund her requests. So Elektra wins the category, like always. It was for Dynasty. It was calling for Dynasty, and she storms the ball with this beautiful blue gown with, rhinestones embellished, and just looked completely polished and more womanly than the other contestants. And, I think that's like the biggest part of being in the ballroom scene, your effect. Your effect is what the category is calling for. So if the category is calling for butterfly realness, like, you gotta bring your effect is what you think a butterfly looks like. If a butterfly has wings, if a butterfly is, black or blue or yellow or purple. Like, that's your idea of what the effect is. And the best effect, typically, effect and confidence. I think effect and confidence, and I think it just wins overall. So Elektra wins. She looks absolutely stunning, and so Damon is on the prowl. He is looking for that man, honey, and I don't blame him. He is looking for Ricky. He's down to the piers. Ricky is off with some other girl, and Damon approaches him, and he wants to talk. He wants to, get some understanding. Babe, I want you, but like, I had to do some shit for me, and you got to understand that I didn't come to New York for a relationship. I came here, to join a dance company, and I think it's so innocent and cute and just everything to me. Elektra is completely like outdone that Blanca won, and she goes to her place of business. She goes to the nail shop, and she's like, look, bitch, I don't care if you are on break or lunch, you're gonna do my nails, and you're gonna put this Revlon on it, and this is what it is. Like, you can't be going around trying to be an activist for things that will not change. And Blanca is the more progressive because she's a little bit younger than Elektra. Elektra has, kind of settled in her ways a little bit. And Blanca's like, no, like, you paved the way, but we're going to just like bulldoze it all the way through, and we're going to be accepted everywhere. We're going to be able to go to a gay bar if we want to go to a gay bar. We're going to be able to, do the things that you've always dreamed of doing, but couldn't do, or would it be able to do if you weren't the woman that you are with all your refinery and, femininity. I strongly believe that, back in the 80s, a lot of transsexuals had to endure some of the most incredulous things, especially not being able to obtain a normal job in a normal environment, where they saw fit. And I feel like that's why a lot of the categories consist of being an executive or being like some high-class lawyer or something like that, because these girls, even though they dreamt of it or could dress up to be it, they couldn't be it because once they got to the job interview and had to prove their identity, it went downhill from there. In that time, a lot of people were not hiring people that were born a man and dressed like a woman. So Evan goes to James Van Der Beek's office because he needs a raise. He needs to be able to satisfy his wife, and he also needs to be able to fund his mistress's life as well. And James Van Der Beek, I mean, he's done this clearly. It's not something new to him. He's a playboy in the same because he's already been in this lifestyle. But yeah, he gives him advice and he gives him a raise, and he's hopefully able to support both lifestyles that he's trying to live. We move on to Blanca back at the white bar, and every time she goes back, the owner puts in another reinforcement. The first time was the bouncer, and then this last time he actually called the police, and the police removed Blanca on account of I think he said like a public nuisance or disturbance or something like that. Needless to say, Blanca gets arrested and Elektra bails her out. Now, Elektra only does this because she knows that Blanca is so wrapped up in her activism that she doesn't have time to come to the ball and so she can win her title back. That's all she wants. She wants to win her title back, and so she bails her out, and she woos the people or the officers down at the police department because she passes. She's a very passable woman, and she brings in elegance and quality, and she also smells good, and she dresses really, really nicely. So she passes in a different way that Blanca doesn't. And the police at this time in New York were so disrespectful, and I'm sure it was confusing to them as well, but they were also disrespectful by putting Blanca in a cell with other men. where Blanca could have been, you know, beaten, raped, all kinds of stuff. I feel like in situations like this, when you don't know, you don't degrade the person. You probably should put them in a cell on their own if you have that capacity to do so. Damon's back down to the piers looking for his man. That's what we do. He looking for Ricky, you know? Like, hey, like, we're going on a date and I messed up the first one, but I'm here to let you know, like, I'm really, really serious about getting to know you a little bit more. He invites him to a ballet, and, you know, he tells him, if you show up, you show up. If you don't, you don't. And then we'll take it from there. Just lovely. I love it. Miss Kiki Pendarvis, your heels are too low and your hips have no flow. Please leave the process. So we are back at the ball, and Elektra and Blanca are going to walk it out. Like, they're going to battle it out because Elektra wants her title back. She truly wants her title back, and she wants to earn that trophy, and she's going to do all that she can. In this ballroom scene, Elektra gives me like long legs, like giraffe. Like, her legs are so long, and she has the fringe on the back of her suit. Just beautiful outfit, but just, it's comical just seeing her like trough across the floor with those long legs, like grasshopper legs, just crazy. Blanca, she's like, you know, trying to serve and just being, you know, real feminine, and has her little sequence ensemble on, and she's just not giving it, and Elektra definitely wins this battle for sure. Alright, so the episode ends with Ricky and Damon meeting at the ballet. He meets him there, and, you know, it's as thrilling and exciting as it was when we saw Damon go with his classmates the first time. We also have Blanca like waiting outside the gay bar, like looking lost, like she doesn't belong, and I just feel sad for her, watching her, you know, watch other people have a good time when she's sad. But anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. Again, this is Pose Season 1, Episode 2, Access. Thank you so much for watching. If you've enjoyed my video, make sure you give me a thumbs up on the like button. If you enjoy my content on my channel, make sure you subscribe to the channel. And if you want to be notified anytime I post videos, hit that bell button. Also, if you did not agree with what I've had to say, or even if you agree with what I've had to say, definitely drop down in the comment section. Let me know, and I will talk to you guys later. Bye.